On the opposite end of the spectrum again now is the titrated induction, where we are going to go slowly and give someone the most appropriate amount of medication, checking at each step. So we'll again start by pre-oxygenating the patient, and we'll give some amount of fentanyl, which we know takes about 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes, I should say. And here we're going to give propofol again, but just smaller doses. So we'll give a little bit of propofol, and then we're going to check their response to that. So here, maybe we'll see if they still respond to verbal stimuli. And then the second component of checking response is what is their blood pressure. So either looking at your art line or cycling the cuff, see what that dose of propofol has done to their hemodynamic status and to their level of consciousness. And then let's give a little bit more propofol and we check response again. But maybe here we're looking for our eyelash response and blood pressure. And then we give a little bit more. And now maybe we'll do a sternal rub and blood pressure. And if we need to support their blood pressure, we'll give something else like phenyl. Again, titrating the medications that we're giving to the response in the patient. And notice here with these checks that we're doing things of escalating stimulation level, because the most stimulating thing that we do to somebody is laryngoscopy. So we want to make sure that the amount of propofol that we've given is not just sufficient to prevent their response to verbal stimuli, but they're at a sufficient depth of anesthesia to prevent a response to laryngoscopy. So then the last thing we will check maybe is a jaw thrust, which is very stimulating. And then after we know that we've got a decent depth of anesthesia, we'll paralyze, sucks or rock, and then intubate. So what does our timeline look like here? Well, maybe we've established unconsciousness up here by loss of response to verbal stimuli. So they'd be at risk of aspiration starting at this point. But we're not ready to intubate them until long after. So how much time? Basically indeterminate, but enough time that we were able to give slow and appropriate doses of propofol. And so how much drug? Enough. And so maybe this has been, well, longer than our regular, so more than 3 minutes. So maybe this is 5 minutes or however long it takes. So here we have the added benefit of controlling hemodynamics. So we have hemodynamic stability, but at the expense of potential aspiration risk in a patient who is not fasted. This also takes more time, which sometimes is something we want to avoid. So hopefully it makes sense that these different methods of induction are sort of on a spectrum from fast to slow, and our rapid sequence induction has the risks of hemodynamic instability or potential awareness, versus our titrated induction is very careful and slow, but there certainly exists this risk of aspiration for the unfasted patient. So a titrated induction and a normal induction are sort of a luxury that are afforded to us by having a fasted patient.